Real quick before we get started, I decided to open up a Discord server for the channel where we can talk about Timeless, if that's your thing. Links down there in the description. Thanks. Hey everyone, welcome back to Timeless. Today we're going to be iterating a bit more on this Boros Ephemerate deck that we built before. Before we get into it, I'm going to sort the deck a little bit so it's not just sorted by mana cost, just to make it make a little bit more sense. All right, this is a bit more of a logical way to present the deck. We've made some changes since the last time that we were on the deck. Notably, we are now an OBOSH deck, and I haven't seen anybody else present OBOSH as a companion since Modern Horizons 3 dropped. So this is pretty sweet that we get to run this card. The core is still pretty similar. We have Solitude Fury as our pitch elementals. We have the Ephemerate package to bounce them. We have Flage propping up the deck. We still have the 4 Fable of the Mirror Breakers, the Guide of Souls, the Ocelot Pride, and actually I wanted to check really quick because I can't remember. We weren't playing Ragavan in the last version, right? No, we were not. I just checked Moxfield. So we've added an additional 1-drop, which is something that I realized is pretty strong as I kept playing the deck. So I'm going to talk about Ragavan and Lelia really quick because these cards are pretty similar. I realized that this deck is actually really good at enabling a Ragavan style card, because what you could do is you could play your Ragavan on turn 1, and what often happens to Ragavan is when he doesn't just die to a removal spell, is that your opponent will just put up a bigger creature and block it. They'll throw down an O3 Tameo, or they'll just put down a dorky 1/1 that will trade with it, and you'll be a little bit disappointed in that. But when you back up the Ragavan by 0 mana removal, what happens is you can just clear the way for your Ragavan, and you could just start getting card advantage and start snowballing, which I realized was a really strong play pattern as soon as I added Ragavan to the deck. It was so strong that I decided to add Lelia to the deck, which is not a card that you see very often. It is a 3 mana card similar to Ragavan that's very snowbally, and it generates you advantage when it attacks. Lelia says whenever she attacks, exile the top card of your library. You can play it this turn, only this turn, so it's a pretty narrow time frame. And whenever you exile a card from your library or graveyard, you put a counter on her. So she grows to 3/3 the first turn she attacks, 4/4, 5/5, 6/6, etc., etc. If you have alternate ways to exile things from your library or graveyard, such as Flage escaping, yes, that will put more counters on Lelia, which is pretty sweet. We haven't built around this card. I didn't include a bunch of ways to exile things out of the graveyard, but it's pretty cool to run this card. Another notable change that we made is we're playing Touch the Spirit Realm instead of the Thunder Junction card, the Glamour, Getaway Glamour. And the reason that I decided to make the switch is because I realized that this deck actually has a lot of difficulty dealing with non-creature permanents. So I do want Touch the Spirit Realm as an O-Ring effect sometimes. I think it's better than Glamour. Even though Glamour is more flexible, this card is something important that we're going to need. It is something you could put into play off of a show and tell to get the omniscience. But those decks are all running Born Upon a Wind nowadays, so sometimes it doesn't even matter. But it's still a good thing to have, and I've even considered going up to a 3rd copy, but we're going to keep it where it is for right now. So we still have these 6 flicker effects and the 7 elementals. Now, since we're an OBOSH deck, we can't run the 2-drops. We're not running the land destruction package, so we can run more 3s. I talked about Lelia, I talked about Fable. We're also running 1 Ranger Captain. I had more before. The card is, it's got upsides, it's got downsides. I don't know whether or not this is a correct card to include in the deck. I was thinking about cutting it completely, but then I said, yeah, let's include 1 copy in the video. And then like other people can try it, other people can give their thoughts. At least that's half the reasons I post these videos, is so that other people can try these cards out. And if you think Ranger Captain is going to be really good, please like jam 4 copies, jam a bunch of 1-drops, and just let me know how it goes. In terms of 1-drops, I did add a Giver of Rooms as well. One of made a little bit more sense when we had 4 Ranger Captains to tutor it up. So perhaps I might want to go to 2 copies of this as we think about refining the deck. But as it stands, we're going to run it back with this. Also, to look at the mana base. We did make it into a Blood Moon mana base. So we have 3 basic planes over here and all white fetches. We have 10 white fetches. We have Arena of Glory, which is really sweet with Flage. I can't remember if I had this in the last build. Can't remember. If I didn't, that's my mistake, because this card is freaking sweet. Sideboard, very similar to the last one. We cannot run 2 mana cards, so there are some replacements. We still have the 4 Deafening Silences. We have the 2 swords for against creature decks, but I doubt this is even necessary since we have so much removal in the deck. 2 Pithing Needle for your combo decks, of course. 2 Stone of Wretch is our graveyard card, heat card. I'm not sure if this is correct, but like the good graveyard cards cost 2. So Yeah, we're trying this one. And 4 Blood Moon, of course. I love some Blood Moon. And I believe that's it. The performers from last time that stayed all performed very, very well. So Guide of Souls, Ocelot, Pride, very impressed with them. I was impressed with ephemeраting my elementals. I was incredibly impressed with Flage. I think this is a fantastic deck for Fable the Mirror Breaker. Fable the Mirror Breaker put in so much work. Where in other decks I can sometimes find it a little slow. This is really the perfect deck for it. And I got up to top 10 playing this deck last night. So let's go ahead and queue up some games. I think I'm still rank number 10 exactly, so maybe we can push for single digits. Let's see how it goes. All right, we are going to be on the play against Wrath of God, and we don't have a very strong Elementals hand, but we have a Guide of Souls on the play, the classic. I do not know what my opponent is playing. I think this is going to be okay enough to keep. I'm not super enthusiastic about this hand, but we have the Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and we could use that card to filter our hand and try to find the pieces that we do need for this matchup. Let's go ahead and keep it. Hopefully this isn't an unfair deck, because then we just kind of lose. I'm going to go ahead and start with Guide of Souls to maximize the amount of energy that we potentially get. And I'll go ahead and eat a Boiger. Our opponent is probably on some sort of a control deck. I kind of wish we started with the Giver now, because we drew the Ocelot Pride. I would have loved to protect both of them. But, such just life. I'm going to go to combat really quick. I'm going to smack them for 1. We're going to do this before playing our creatures, so our opponent decides whether or not they want to use a removal spell. And we get 1 point of damage in. If they decide they want to wait until after combat, which most people will, then we can go ahead and play this Giver of Runes. Yeah, I really wish I played this turn 1. Maybe that was correct. Maybe I don't care about the 1 life, 1 energy. Something here is getting removed or countered. It is going to be the Discharge. What's nice is that we already gained life. And we're going to get a cat trigger, which is pretty cool. And we'll have Giver of Runes online starting next turn. Giver of Runes is like pretty strong. I think maybe I should consider playing more copies of it. Looks like our opponent is going to take this turn to Brainstorm, sculpt their hand, and then next turn they might try to answer our board. Unless they Brainstorm into a 1-mana answer to one of our creatures. Okay, they're going to be passing. Ooh, another Guide of Souls. Guide of Souls is a very strong card, but I want to be mana efficient here. And I want to play the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So I'm going to go to combat with my 2 creatures, excluding Giver of Runes. I will protect the Ocelot Pride by tapping my Giver. It's important that it connects so that we gain life here. And now we can go ahead and try to resolve this Fable. Our opponent would need something like a Spell Pierce to answer it really cleanly. There's very few cards that I would imagine are in their main deck which answer a Fable cleanly. Usually when I'm just casting a 3-drop on turn 3 into a control deck, I'm very hesitant, of course. But with this much mana represented, there's no real clean way for them to answer Fable except with the Spell Pierce, which is not a card that people really main deck nowadays. Okay. Goodbye. Interesting concession timing. We didn't see too much crazy stuff from their deck. The Brainstorm and the Discharge, I think maybe just Sky Control is what we're up against. I think the Blood Moons are probably pretty sweet against just Sky Control, and then maybe a Pithing Needle. Maybe I'm not sure. They're probably playing something like One Ring or a Planeswalker for some card advantage. Now let's think about what's not good. We don't need all the crazy amounts of creature removal, right? So I think we could take out some of the Solitudes and then thus take out some of the Spirit Realms. I want to keep Fury because this does kill their Planeswalkers. So if they have something like Tammy out that I view as kind of a must answer, we can still Fury it. Yeah, we can go to 3 Furies though. Alright, sweet. We got a Ragavan on the draw kind of hand, but it's a Blood Moon hand, so we're gonna keep it. So we have, ooh, another Blood Moon. So Blood Moon on the draw is a little sus, just because your opponents can almost always just counterspell it, but we have two threats here that are sort of must answers. I'm sure my opponent is going to want to answer the Ragavan and the Pride. So hopefully they waste their interaction on that, and we get a nice clean Blood Moon resolve. If not, we have two copies. And hopefully they are a 3-color control deck and not just Izzet, because if they're just blue-red, then Blood Moon is a bit worse. They're more likely to have basic islands in that case. And of course, you know, the more red spells, it's not like they're going to have double white spells or something. Let's go ahead and start by just going to combat Ragavan before we make a decision. Our opponent does not appear to have anything. A Stern Stew, we could scold him back. That's funny. And Stern scold them back. Alright. We're just going to go ahead and fetch out a basic plains here, and then slam a Blood Moon. I actually did have the opportunity to slam the Blood Moon there, and I didn't talk it out loud, but I see just 2 untapped mana, and I say no control mages just tap it, passing there. They're obviously holding up a mana drain. Alright, cool, they're going to wipe my board here, which means I get split Blood Moon. I'll go ahead and take my Surveil here. We'll be fine with 1 basic plains for the time being. Ooh, another monkey? Another funny monkey, as they say. So, my opponent is probably not going to be totally crippled by this Blood Moon, seeing that they're just blue-red, not just Sky. They played a Brotherhood's End, which they can still cast here. But hopefully this helps me get ahead of it. It'll at least cut them off of mana drain and cards like that for the time being. Alright, let's go to combat, see if we connect. Looks like no this time. I think here there's not really a point to playing the second moon, so we're just going to put OBOSH into our hand and play it next turn. Okay. We're going to go ahead and slam the OBOSH. Don't really have to worry about counter magic because they're down to 1 blue source, and for creature removal, there's not that much removal in blue-red that does 5 damage as it stands. Great, let's go ahead and attack. Hit for 6, and then we go ahead and play this Fury. We can keep Ephemerate up to help our creatures dodge a removal spell, which is really sweet. So if my opponent bolts my Fury, I'm totally Ephemerating it to save it. That's the kind of thing that'll make him concede. 3 to each creature? I can't Ephemerate to save that, huh? Nope, because it comes back immediately? Oh well. If they invest a bolt onto OBOSH here, then yes, we can Ephemerate it to save it. Let's go to combat. So now do I tap out of Ephemerate? I don't think so, because this is quite literally a lethal threat. This is not a lethal threat. Let's just keep up our defensive spell for the lethal threat. Also, this is me being punished slightly for not wanting to fetch a second basic plains, and instead choosing to fetch a Surveil land. Another way that I could have gotten punished was by drawing Flage and wanting to escape it, but I had a treasure in play at the time. So I said I could just use that treasure for emergency fixing. Of course, I just used the treasure for something else. Sweet, 1 game, 1 win. Oh wow, high-ranked opponent. It's number 10 versus number 31, and you're against the Tarmogoyf. And it looks like they're running a Lurrus deck. Hopefully this is not a Lurrus control deck, because double Flage is a great opener to have against Lurrus. This is actually like a really awkward opener otherwise, considering we got like an Ephemerate with nothing to Ephemerate. We have double Flage. I think against Lurrus I do keep this though. Because I'm guessing Lurrus means a Lurrus energy or a Lurrus creature deck. Actually, I haven't seen this opponent before. Way up at rank 31, which is awesome. Let's see what they fetch. Yeah, it looks like energy. Okay, sweet. So this is a good keep. Hopefully we just don't get run over. And hopefully we draw land 3. You know, we could not draw it. There's a possibility. But we're very likely to draw either a pitch elemental or a 1-drop if we don't. Yep, just a normal energy draw so far. Not a fast one, thankfully. Yep, there's a pitch elemental. We're gonna wait 1 turn to pitch it. I don't want to just hit guide. I want them to spew out their hand. Yeah, I know I'm letting them generate energy, but they're gonna spend the energy. Yeah. I want to kill that. Oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Yeah, amped after. That's another creature to clean up. Oh, hand to Johnny? Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of cleanup on aisle 3.
What a beautiful day, brother.
What a beautiful day, brother. Okay, not gonna lie though, they got City's Blessing. That is a wide board. However, we do get to Fury like literally all of it, so I'm okay. We're gonna beat this, believe it or not. They have a lot of energy to rebuild with though, which is my only concern. So let's go ahead and hold full control since we've redundant. Actually, I'd rather get rid of Lelia over redundant Flage. So let's evoke, exile a red card. We are going to do our first trigger, and with that trigger, we're going to kill the Ajani. The Ajani, kill the Guide of Souls, so that we can clean up the cats pretty indiscriminately after that. So we'll let this trigger resolve. And then we get to Flicker. And I now have the option of ephemerating a second time to, like, truly wipe their board. Ooh, Bowmasters? No, I'll wait for them to play the Bowmasters before I ephemerate a second time. Look at this. This is disgusting. Which, by the way, ephemerate's coming back anyway, so I might as well just cast it then. I don't think I need to ephemerate the Fury right now, but if I really wanted to do 4 more damage, I could ephemerate Fury again. Okay, there's your boy, Amped Raptor. There's an Ajani, too. That's crazy.
I will prove my worth to my pride.
Let's go ahead and let this damage through. I don't care. So the question is, do we want to... Oh, they're going to flip their Ajani here? Yeah, let's go ahead and ephemerate right now then. I don't want you doing that. Okay, so here we want to hit specifically the Ajani. And then we can also hit these 2. Alright, and then the ephemerates come off of rebound. There we go. There goes your board. And this is the power of Fury. Jesus Christ. I'm going to cast this ephemerate, even though it doesn't really do anything, just so that I get an extra card in my graveyard for Flage. Oh, yeah. And now we can just play out this Fable of the Mirror Breaker, which is going to let us dump these Flages into our graveyard to escape it later. Yeah, this is awesome. It's about as good as it gets. Even though our opponent had the nut draw. They had the Guide of Souls, they had the multiple Ajanis, they had the amulet so that they can draw more cards after I cleaned up their board. And they're still in a losing position. Like, they don't know my hand, and they don't realize I'm holding, like, double Flage and another Ephemerate, which is obscene. I wonder when they're gonna scoop. This is nuts. Alright, we drew a land. Since it's a tap land, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Aha. Yeah, you know what? I do want to... Hey, I wanted to ephemerate. Hold on. Hey, Watsy. I wanted to flicker this. Forgot to hold full... I need to hold full control to let this trigger resolve first. That's my bad. Not a fine then. It's fine. Not the end of the world. I'm gonna flicker it again anyway. Alright, so what I should have done there, you gotta hold full control on Arena for that. I wanted the Bowmaster trigger to resolve just so that I can kill the little orc army. And I'm also just gonna cast Flage. Yeah, okay, they're done. Not that it mattered. So yeah, we beat the energy nut draw. This deck absolutely feasts, and I mean feasts, on these fair creature decks. We're gonna take the Lily out because I think she's very likely to get blocked. Maybe Ranger Cap could come out. Maybe. Ooh, Stone of a Wretch. They're not going to be a Flage deck, however. Creature opponent dies with... If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. I believe that hates on Mr. Ajani over here. And it also prevents them from buying things back with Lurrus. Actually, do I want another copy of that card? It seems pretty dope, right? Cut a Ragavan since they're the Bowmasters version of the deck. Seems good to me. I've also brought in Blood Moon because they're the 3-color version of the deck, but yeah. Yeah? I don't think so. Unfortunate day to be Boros. So yeah, if you guys want to just murder Boros, this is the deck. If you want to lose to unfair decks, this is also it. If you want to lose to show and tell every time, yeah, you registered this pile. Alright, they have the kitty cat. It lines up very well against Raggy Dan. I didn't think about my keep too much there, but I have a Fable to filter my hand and a Solitude to answer their creatures. So I decided to keep it, as well as the Bragavan. Maybe I could have mulliganed to look for a bit more removal. Yeah, our opponent might snowball here. Maybe there was a mulligan for me. I was kind of yapping and not paying too much attention, such as the life of trying to make some content. Not always locked in when I'm trying to talk. We're just going to take our Surveil here. Oh yeah, that's the card we want. Go ahead and pass. So just think about like what is going to get pitched to the Fury here. I think it's the Fable that gets pitched to Fury, because I'm very interested in casting Flage, even just for 3 mana next turn. I am super, super interested in escaping him on a later point. Okay. I might lose the Solitude, if I had to guess. They don't know I'm drawing Fury, so they probably take Solitude as my only, like, real answer to their shenanigans. Oh, they take Fable. Okay, so now I have to pitch my Flage, which doesn't make me super happy, but it's life. I'm gonna keep my Flage. So now, you know what? I'm even considering, because I'm not dead, right? If I cast Flage here, this is my thought process. I cast Flage. I go to 15 life. They're not putting enough pressure on me to kill me. I could just cast Fury for 5 mana. Or I can Fury nuke the board, and then I have to hope to draw something. And I don't like being in the position where I have to hope to draw something. I do have Solitude to help me stabilize further. I'm so close to getting Flage back. Yeah, I get Flage back next turn with a fetch land. I think that's the deciding factor for me. Throwing away this Flage just makes no sense. We can answer their #1 snowbally card, which is this Pride. It's about to hit City's Blessing. We can go back up to 15 life. Well, 14 because we fetched. Next turn we escape Flage. Turn after we hardcast the Fury. Seems pretty good to me. If my opponent had like a draw that was just putting a little bit more pressure on me, though, I would probably have to evoke the Fury there. But I think we're okay here. Here's your boy Amped Raptor. Here's a Johnny. If they can flip the Ajani here, I'm kind of dead.
May our axes strike as one.
Okay, looks like they can't necessarily do that, which is pretty good. So we can get our Fleege back. And then next turn, unfortunately, we didn't draw a card to pitch. So we cannot pitch out one of our elementals like I was kind of hoping. But we can cast this Fleege. Hopefully I wasn't too greedy by not Furying before. Alright, we are at 11 with a blocker. So if we can survive this turn cycle, then we can Fury them, and then we pretty much have a guaranteed win. Ocelot Pride is not enough for our opponent. They need something like a Flip to Johnny ASAP. If they could have flipped that to Johnny, they would have won there. So maybe that's something I am supposed to play around. Maybe I'm supposed to respect that and say, hey, I got a Fury and take out 4 creatures. So Johnny doesn't just murder me with the 0 ability. Hey, our opponent is putting Lurrus into their hand. That is a good sign for us that this game is slowed down. I'm gonna go slow, we win. Attack me with everything? Alright, yeah, they realize that they can't give me any time. I'll block your biggest thing. Alright, I go to 5, but you're bored, it's gone, buddy. Alright, cast Fury. So since they have a Lurrus coming back, I think I'm notably gonna leave this Bowmasters in play just so that they can't, like, recur it to ping and make 2 targets. Maybe I could have left the Amp Drafter in play also so they can't recur it off of Lurrus. I'm gonna hit them up top with this Fleege, by the way. Oh yeah, there's another Bowmasters, sure. Second chump here. Ping me down to 3. I go to 6 here. If we look like we're in a sus situation where they can kill us by attacking, we can Emergency Solitude. If not, we'll probably just Sorcery Speed Solitude their Lurrus. Or just kill it by attacking the Fleege, right? We're very much in the driver's seat here, but our opponent has an Amulet in play. Like, they have lines. I don't know how reliable those lines are, but maybe there's a crazy sequence of cards that can get them there. They also have to think it through, of course. Wait, there's Lurrus. And Lurrus is going to bring back something, right? Shadowy Backstreet, Surveilling. Do we hit something good to bring back with Lurrus? I don't know what they could hit. Hit a Guide of Souls, which is pretty sweet if they have like another dorky creature in their hand to gain some life. Like, they don't know. Well, they do know about the Solitude in my hand, so yeah, they're just gonna scoop. Hard to imagine them coming back from there. If I didn't have removal, they could have like played in a Johnny and tried to gum up the board, but not gonna happen. All right, we are on the play against Renacho. This hand does not do anything. I think we send this back, even though we got a very cool Fleege in our hand. This hand does even less. I think we'll keep it, though. I'm not too keen on going to 5, especially when we don't know what we're playing against and what I'm supposed to mulligan for. If I went to 5, I wouldn't be sure which 5 cards to keep. If, you know, this is an unfair deck, then I don't want to keep, like, Ephemerate Fury, but against a fair deck, I really would want to, so let's go ahead and keep this. Let's hope that we can snowball with this Ocelot Pride, draw some more threats to back it up. It's a little rough, though, I'll admit. Hopefully we got another fair deck out here, because we absolutely murder those, as we saw last game. That's a lightning bolt to answer me. Okay, an ephemerate effect, which is also a removal spell, which is pretty sweet. We'll just surveil this turn. I love surveillance. I think I should go to 3 in this deck. I have 2, which it seems kind of crazy to go to 3. But I've been surveilling a lot in this deck, and not in the games in this video, but in my games by myself, I've wanted the 3rd surveil land more than once. Kind of crazy in a deck with, what, 13 1-drops? Hey, what are you casting? Hey, no rings, no rings. Oh, it's the Phoenix deck. Nice. So this is, yep. Oh, they discarded it. What a shame. Yeah, so if they got to cast this Buried Alive, they would have put 3 Arclight Phoenix into their graveyard, and they would have won the game on the spot, pretty much. Because I'm at 18, it's only 2 combat steps to kill me. Let's go ahead and surveil. Okay, so now we know what we're up against. Unfortunately, the graveyard heat I have, which is Stone Overwatch, is not good against this. It's not a super common deck, but I have seen it once before. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to... no, I don't need to fetch a basic. I could probably just shock here. We'll leave our fetch up for next turn for more decision making. We're going to play the Fable. Fable's hopefully going to filter our hand. We can throw this Flage into our graveyard for easy escaping. We can get rid of the Spirit Realm as well because we don't have much to do with it. No blocks, please. Yeah, and our opponent's deck is kind of just existing because they didn't get to do their thing. I think it's pretty safe to just get rid of... We can keep Solitude because we'll have 5 mana pretty soon, but we can get rid of Touch. Oh my god, Furies. And we can go ahead and fetch here. That's 6 cards in the graveyard, including Flage, so Flage can come right back. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And we can gain some life, so now we're less likely to die to 3 random Phoenixes, and yep, that's it. So our opponent is on that Phoenix plan. Blood Moon wouldn't hate them out too strong because they have a lot of red in their deck. They can make treasures, so they can actually win through it really easily. I wish this Stone of Rush was a different graveyard heat piece. Oof, this... I need the 2 mana up. Do something with it. I think I'm going to play it anyway. And then we have the Deafening Silences. So the question is, what are we taking out against this deck? This is a deck where Lelia can excel if they don't have Phoenixes on the board. We probably take out some of the Flages because we don't need to grind as much. We take out the Touches because I think we're going to take out Yuri. Solitude is pretty sweet to exile the Phoenixes. Yeah, let's put in another Silence for another Fury. This seems pretty decent to me. We want 1 more Silence when we're on the draw? Probably. And when we're on the draw, we probably drop a Ragavan for another Silence. So here we do have the ability to evoke an Ephemerate Solitude. This is like absolutely fantastic. If the deck does their thing, we get to permanently exile 2 of the 3 Phoenixes that come back. I'm going to take it. That's a no-brainer. Alright, my turn. I'm going to go ahead and play a fetch land. I could play the Ocelot Pride, but what I think I want to do is just hold up the Solitude, because there's a really good chance that they just go for it on turn 2. And I would love to just end this game early. And if not, we get to Surveil to hopefully hit a 2nd white source. This basic mountain is a little sus right here. A sus mountain. Not doing much. Right, that is a looting thrown into the bin. Let's see if they have it. If they don't have it, this keeps gonna look like a little silly. Just banking on them having it. And getting to shut off their deck. I do want to try this Phoenix deck. I have not tried it yet, personally, because I don't think it's the best thing to be doing in Timeless. If there's your Dark Ritual, there's your Gamble, and if they don't discard Buried Alive again, which was very unlucky last time, then they win. And by win, I mean they put 3 Phoenixes into play and 2 of them are about to get exiled, so sucks to suck for them. What? A what kind of Phoenix? That's the wrong. Hey, timeout. That's the wrong Phoenix. You're not allowed to play that one. You're supposed to play this one. What do you mean you have another Phoenix in your deck? Alright, anyway, full control. Would I want to ephemerate this again on a later turn? Probably. This card's still. We'll pitch one ephemerate. I wasn't sure what's the correct decision here, but hey, I gotta make a decision before my rope shows up. Let's ephemerate this. Both Phoenixes are going bye-bye. Alright, and, okay, yeah. You know, I thought, oh man, you got this Phoenix so that you wouldn't scoop to of Solitudes, or whatever. Oh my god. This deck's fun. Alright, first 3 games went pretty quick, so we have time for a game 4. Turns out people love conceding to an ephemerated Solitude. We are up against Instatick 666. Our opening hand has an ephemerate Solitude and an aggressive 1-drop and a Flaze for the long game. Dude, just sign me up. This is perfect. Once upon a time, so we're against a creature deck, so our Solitude is going to be disgusting. Oh, this deck has legs. Every time I get it, ooh. Archway. Maybe this is not a fair creature deck. Very interesting. It's so funny playing this deck. It's like the dichotomy of, oh wow, I'm farming the crap out of creature decks. This is the most busted shit ever. And then like you get against Show and Tell and you're like, I sideboarded in 8 cards and I still lost. What the hell is this? So maybe some other people want to work on the deck. This is prime time. So we can ephemerate or Solitude their prime time. Other than that, yeah, we're a Blood Moon deck though, so we can just mold a Blood Moon, right? Mold a Blood Moon gang. Also, they're playing Arid Archway, which is the one, like, Ravnica bounce land equivalent on Arena. Which is kind of funny. Bounce lands would actually be pretty cool for the format. Imagine if this format got, like, real Primeval Titan, where they had Amulet and the bounce lands. Holy shit. That deck might actually be too much. That would be insanity. We're just going to Surveil here. Wow, that would be insane. Amulet Titan? I would totally play that. It sounds like a lot of fun. But, like, those guys would be winning on turn 3, like, very frequently. And maybe it's a little too good for the format. Our opponent is not paying life, and it's coming into play untapped anyway because of Spelunking. Nice to see. They have 5 mana available to them. Ooh, Titania. This is not what I was expecting to see on a Tuesday, but here we are. So is this worth solituding? I think so. I think it's worth touching. We can touch this Titania, perhaps a little bit inappropriately. I touch the Spirit Realm. You go bye-bye. Maybe it was more appropriate. Now I'm thinking about like my touch usage, right? Maybe I was supposed to touch Spelunking or something because it's a combo card. I don't know. We'll see whether or not the prime time comes out. Oh, Spelunking's so good. These Surveillance are just like untapped duels. So the Titania combo in the deck, and I'm assuming they also have prime time if they're playing Field of the Dead. So it looks like we got a bit of an off-meta lands deck, and not the stock prime time build, which is cool. Another Archway, you got it. I wonder what the Archway is for, specifically. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what card they could have that combos with it. I think we're just getting this Grazer out of the way, by the way. Just in case they have Natural Order in the deck, there's a reason to do this. And it also lets us technically push through 1 more damage a turn. That really doesn't matter. I'm mostly thinking about Natural Order when I use my mana that way. Also, I have nothing else to do with my mana, right? So, you gonna blame me for that? Opponent is out here floating some mana, so I'm smelling a prime time. Oh, they're gonna cast Turn Timber. Ooh, that's nice. Oh, that's cool. Hey, that's a big arboreal grazer. That's a big boy. That's a big healthy boy. Look how healthy he is. Oh shit! What are they copying? Okay, nothing. Oh, they can copy the card that combos with Titania, but that's about it. I want to land so I can hard cast Solitude. I also want to fill my bin for Flage. No, you're not a land, so I can hard cast Solitude. I think we're just gonna evoke and not ephemerate Solitude here so that I can keep getting in. And then we'll play this Fable. And the goal of playing the Fable will be... Actually, I think I'm talking myself out. Oh no, we have City's Blessing. Oh, we're City's Blessing gaming, you say? Alright. If we have City's Blessing, then I'm gonna get rid of this Grazer. Because I want to gain life this turn. So that I can go ahead and make a bunch of Fable tokens and start working on overwhelming my opponent. Also, we get Flage back next turn, which is cool. So here, my kitty cat copies all my tokens, which is nice. It's not quite lethal attackers, but it's nice. And we have Emergency Solitude up in case like a hasty primetime shows up. Alright, our opponent is straight up just chilling. Gonna get rid of the Ragavan. Okay, nice. I will go ahead and escape. They have no creatures to copy, right? I mean, they could copy a Grazer with Shifting Woodland. If they really want to do that to block 3 damage, so be it. And now I'm going to go to combat. I technically have exactly lethal on board. Technically. We have exactly 10 power coming at him. Okay, we no longer have exactly lethal. Oh yeah, they're going to do the Shifting Woodland and absorb like 0 damage play. I'm so tempted to Solitude this Woodland. I don't think it's correct. I think I'm supposed to save Solitude for something that actually kills me. We're going to make a lot of copies here. We're going to copy some treasures. We're rich. Alright, how you feeling, opponent? You alright over there? Awesome. Alright, we got a concession out of them. It looks like they are an off-meta, prime time deck. I'm sure Turn Timber is defined prime time, and they also put in the cool Titania combo into their deck, because why not? Alright, so let's think about what we want against them. Solitude is dope. Maybe I should have 4 copies of Solitude in this deck instead of 4 copies of Fury, right? Fury is still fine. It's just, it doesn't 1-for-1 the prime time, so I don't want all the copies of it. Maybe the range cap is not what we want. I kind of still want a Fury. Just thinking about it, the Deafening Silence doesn't really stop them. Pithing Needle? You can Pithing Needle the Shifting Woodlands. Can you Pithing Needle like the Titania combo? Can you like... Where's Titania? You're under here. You can't Needle a Meld. No. It's just an if, not an activated ability. I'm thinking about putting some swords in. The Giver's not going to do anything. They don't have removal. They're playing a funny deck that doesn't have removal. Yeah, let's take the Fury out. Do I really want to touch this Fury Realm in just as an O-ring? I think so. I think that there's merit to that. We want all the exile removal that can hit a big creature, like Primetime specifically. Even though we didn't see Primetime, hey, we saw Field of the Dead, and Primeval Titan will kill us if it stays in play. All right, all right. I don't think this is it. I think we should mulligan at least once or twice to try and find a blood moon. Like I would consider keeping this if we had Sword Splash or Solitude, whatever, whatever. I don't think just an Ocelot Pride on the draw followed up by a Fable on turn 3 is quite enough. Okay, here we don't have the interactive pieces, but what we do have is a density of 1-drops, and this density of 1-drops is much better than just having one 1-drop. This can run my opponent over. So let's go ahead and start with the Ragavan on turn 1 because it's the one that needs to attack to do its thing, and then turn 2 we can put the Guide of Souls plus the Ocelot Pride, which is very strong. I will reconsider that sequencing if they throw up an Arboreal Grazer. They went to 5, which is good for us. Maybe they were pre-mulliganing for sideboard pieces because they know that Blood Moon is coming. No blocker presented. Give me a Ragavan. Alright, they liked whatever card was on top. It's an Explore. Okay, Ragavan just gets to hit them. You know, that's just how it is sometimes. Sometimes Ragavan hits you, sometimes it doesn't. Probably not going to hit anything of value. My prime time, bitch! I'm going to fetch a basic just in case we do hit a Blood Moon. We're going to keep this treasure for later. There's maybe an argument, use the treasure and fetch a Surveil land, but I don't feel super strongly urged to dig for a specific card with the Surveil land. I think we're okay drawing whatever and playing Fable because our opponent doesn't have a fast draw. We don't need to find an answer. Let's just keep throwing things on the board. This turn we can make a flying Ragavan, which is very cool. Alright, my opponent, they're exploring. They have 5 different lands in play. It looks like it might be 6 because they still have priority. Yep. Make that 6 lands. And then here again, I want to play this Fable before combat. And the reason for that is so that we can get our 3rd energy. 3rd energy is going to enable us to fly the Ragavan. That's 2 more damage. Let's get a 2nd Plains just in case the Blood Moon shows up. We're going to discard these 2 lands to the Fable, so there's a good shot it shows up. Ooh, and that's Blessing. I wasn't keeping track. Alright, our opponent goes to 10. I steal another card. Is a Turn Timber Symbiosis. I make a few creatures. Alright, how you feeling there, opponent? You alright? Alright, this is a nice unfair matchup where we were actually able to just overwhelm the board fast enough for them to not be able to do their thing, even though we're on the draw. Though admittedly, this is the kind of unfair deck we're going to be better against. It's a deck we can sideboard in Blood Moon against. Or something like Show and Tell is just like, oh, I cast 1 3-mana spell. I know you don't have counter magic and discard. I win. I was hoping to catch one of those decks in the video because I could show you. Because we went undefeated this video. I think that's 4-0. Don't assume this deck is undefeatable. You are going to lose to Show and Tell if you queue it up. But it's awesome. We went 4-0. I'm very happy with this deck. I'm going to keep tinkering it. It does have a lot of weaknesses. Like I just said, those unfair matchups, they're pretty rough. But it does like bring the best of both worlds of this 1-drop aggro energy deck. And it also backs it up by the bullshit scam elementals. And it's got the Fleege to grind. This, I mean, I got a lot of hope for this deck. And I also put OBOSH in it. OBOSH is awesome. I don't know if this is optimal. You know, maybe not. But hey, I had to put an OBOSH deck on the channel. So I can put it in the thumbnail and I could say, all right, top 10 with an OBOSH deck in Timeless. Y'all saw it here. Also funny, everybody saw, we're still ranked 10. We started the video ranked 10. We won 4 games in a row. We didn't go up. That's just life. Pretty much in the top 20, the distance between the ranks is so big that you can win or lose 5 games straight and your rank doesn't change. It's kind of wild. All right. Anyway, that's it for me. I love this deck. I think this is really strong. I don't know if it's necessarily tier 1. I think like the energy decks that are tried and true on this channel are better still. But this is something I hope other people pick up and innovate. This is sweet.